Now here, the most important element, ladies and gentlemen, is the non-existence of the auction calendar for the issuance of long-term instruments. The auctions announced in this respect most of the time represent small sizes of issue that are not sufficient to create bond market depth and liquidity. Following the development of the primary market, obviously it needs to be sufficiently backed by the development of a secondary market in the country. Now, in most of the countries that we see that have developed secondary market, they have, like for India and Malaysia, developed discount houses to increase trading volumes in the bond market. We have seen Jamaica, Iceland, Thailand have instituted secondary market windows at their central banks. Then we have had a situation back in the 70s and the 80s where Bank of England also had a gilt-edge index-linked instruments to encourage the market. In Germany, the central bank participates through 8 regional exchanges for buying and selling of securities, national securities. In Poland, the National Bank of Poland provides an inter-dealer brokerage system for the central bank T-bills. In Pakistan, the primary dealers are selected, they are far and few, and they are expected to be the price makers of all the instruments. Now, the PD's share in the PIB secondary market was more than 90%, and in the context of the money market treasury bills, it is in the region of roughly about 75%. There is therefore a great need to improve the secondary market trading of the bonds, where the central bank possibly needs to establish a bond trading desk at its own treasury for market interventions in creating the right benchmark. The 7th area obviously is the legal and regulatory framework, and it is important that I read it in the context that it is, and I don't miss out a single word here. This is from an address that Roosevelt made at the height of the economic crisis in 1933, and he said, "Our progress towards a resumption of work requires 2 safeguards against a return of the evils of the old order. There must be strict supervision of all banking and credits and investments. There must be an end to speculation with other people's money," emphasized other people's money, "and there must be provision for an adequate but sound currency." Now, obviously, ladies and gentlemen, in the absence of having the right regulatory framework, no markets can develop. And I think Pakistan, in the context of the regional economies, was one of the first to embark in 1991 with a very well-defined opening program for its economy. And during the process of the last 2 decades, we have somehow derailed ourselves, and sometimes we have put ourselves back on the rails, but the seesaw continues. Now, the last area, which again is the most important critical area, is the tax policy. For any markets to develop, you must have a very well-defined tax policy, where if you look at the OECD countries, which follow an integrated approach where tax is deducted at all sources of income at a single established rate, where some countries are still observing tax deduction at a compartmentalized level, the last approach is really becoming obsolete day by day, which is withholding tax is one way of generating revenue through deduction of tax on interest earnings. Now, the corporate bond market vis-a-vis Pakistan has a broad spectrum of issuers, and diversity has taken place. Since the inception of the first TFC of packages, we have seen that there have been more issuers in the marketplace from a wide range of industrial classifications, ranging from leasing companies, sugar manufacturers, chemicals, textile mills, synthetic fiber manufacturers, pharma companies, not to mention commercial and investment banks themselves. The most encouraging aspect in the development of the Pakistani corporate debt market has been the innovation in the structure. Some noteworthy features which were unknown to this marketplace for about a decade back, ladies and gentlemen, have been the introduction of call and put options, the floating coupon, the caps and the floors, the conversion options, the perpetuity, etc. The introduction of these features has now made investments in TFCs an easier decision to make than ever before. Investors are now more easily able to pick and choose the instruments that are best suited to their outlook. Islamic banking is now catering to something like 12% of the total banking assets of the economy. Now, this is an addition to the financial architecture available in the country. But again, despite its immense growth, we haven't seen any benchmarking instrument that has come around it. I think there's a need for the government to take the initiative and have some kind of a national instrument under the umbrella of Islamic banking to create the right benchmark there. The local derivative market is yet to find a sure footing. Once interest rate and credit derivatives become regularly traded products, only then can we be assured of seeing a lot more innovation in the structure of the corporate debt. There is a need, obviously, to also enhance and focus on the mortgage instruments or the infrastructure bond market. Now, there are constraints in terms of lack of expertise available at the level of bankers, banking industry as a whole, and the financial industry. There is lack of critical mass. The total outstanding mortgage today in the economy is roughly in the region of about 30 billion, which is fairly low in relation to even economies like India and Sri Lanka. Now, my effort has been to create to you a perspective of where we stand as an economy in terms of our ability to be able to capture and address the possibility of developing and deepening the corporate bond market in Pakistan. However, in conclusion, I would again rely on Franklin Roosevelt's address, Timeless Wisdom, uttered in 1937, ladies and gentlemen, and he said, "We have always known that heedless self-interest was bad morals. We now know that it is bad economics." Thank you very much.
But please stay with us. Thank you so much for that very in-depth and very analytical presentation too. It was most enjoyable. I'd like to please call Mr. Sami Ul Hassan to the stage, please, if he might join us, the Chief Executive Officer, Akhtar Hassan, and Company Actuaries. Thank you so much to present our presentation, or to present our plaque. Thank you so much. And again, thank you for bringing us through all the changes, be they very, very rapidly in terms of the instruments in the industry that has indeed changed the industry, and hopefully for the good, but a lot more to be doing. The Habib Metropolitan Bank, Mr. Sirajuddin Aziz. Thank you so much, sir, and thanks to you so much.